Hi, I'd like to take the opportunity to show you how we terminate one of our TCA cables, our TCA 311201 cable. It's the largest of our TCA series. There are 5 cables in the series. They actually terminate very similar to our LMR cables, if you're familiar with the LMR cables. We also use a modular system. So there's one cable entry per cable, and then you can put any type of front end on there, right angle, straight, BNC, TNC. First thing you always want to do with any cable, when you're terminating a cable, get a nice clean cut on the cable. In this cable, these TCA cables have stranded center conductors, so it becomes very important. You want to take a tool and a nice sharp cutting blade, and cut the cable in such a way that you're not disturbing the center conductor. Once you do that, you take your prep tool. In this case, it's an ST 311201 strip tool. Side 1, you make sure that that thumb switch is open. You just pop the cable into the tool all the way till it stops. You push down that thumb switch and you spin it around the cable. And once that thumb switch is all the way down, you make at least one revolution, complete revolution on the cable. Leave it depressed and pull it. You'll see that take that whole pellet right off of the cable. So once you remove that pellet, you're gonna have a little bit of residual expanded PTFE left on that stranded center conductor. You just take a safety razor, you just put it up flush against that dielectric, and just run it right around the circumference there. Not too much pressure. And then you just take that PTFE and it should just easily come off of there, like so. At that point, you take the tool, flip it around to side 2, place it over the cable. It's just like an old-fashioned pencil sharpener. You just push it and turn it, and you keep turning it until you feel it come to a stop. And at that point, you just take the tool and just pull it out. At that point, you have a completely prepped cable. As you can see, you've removed a peeled off that FEP jacket very nicely without damaging the braids in any way. At that point, you're going to want to take the PTFE disc, and I should explain, this is a cable entry. The cable entry we put on the cable first. There's a PTFE disc to create a pin to core gap. There's a ferrule, a pin, and a back body. So we'll take our PTFE disc and just place it right over the center conductor. Then take our pin, place it over the stranded center conductor like so. We'll take a 102 hex crimp die and we'll crimp it right up close to the PTFE disc, like so. At that point, we take our crimp ferrule, slide our crimp ferrule over the cable, take our round wire braids and just fan them out a little bit. And you take your cable entry, place your cable entry, get it started over that PTFE disc there, and just push it and turn it, and you'll feel it, engage with that pin there. Push it all the way on. Make sure you see the pin sticking out there in the dielectric. Flush up with the dielectric. Bring those braids back. Then you bring your crimp ferrule forward. Then you want to take a 324 crimp die. And at that point, we just want to crimp this just once, right at the very back of the connector, like so. We don't want to crimp it a second time, because what we'll end up doing is crushing the jacket, crushing the core, and creating impedance disturbance. Now we have a terminated TCA cable. Now you can do this work outside the plane, outside the fuselage. You don't have to worry about any conductive materials, any residue of any kind, any FOD. You got this here. And one thing we should point out at this point is we have these little pulley noses. You can thread this pulley nose onto this cable, and once you run your fish wires or snake wires through the fuselage, you can actually take this and gently pull this through the fuselage, unscrew that pulley nose, and once you get to the point of termination, now you have your front ends. You have TNCs, BNCs. We have just a few of the front ends that we have. We have quite a few. We have spanner wrenches. to tighten these right up. You can also purchase the connectors already assembled. If you know what you need and you're not concerned about pulling through the fuselage with the pulley nose, you can buy connectors already assembled, front end and the back end, the cable entry. But this gives you a lot of flexibility. There's also right angle joints. You place a right angle joint on there, and again, all of a sudden you have a right angle BNC. And these would just be torqued up with a spanner wrench and just a drop of Loctite, and you have a nice, nice rugged, rock solid termination for the TCA cables. All the other 4 TCA cables terminate in a similar fashion. They all have a tool just like this associated with the particular core size. They all have a cable entry like we just demonstrated, and they share these interfaces. So you can stock up on these interfaces knowing that you can use these on various different TCA size cables. Thank you very much.